The opinions expressed in this show do not necessarily reflect the views of Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network.
Hello everyone, and welcome to another episode of Connecting with Kim here on Tampa Bay Arts and Education Network. I'm your host, Kim Droege, and we are so glad that you joined us today because, as usual, we are bringing you information about people, places, and things that help you live your best life in our corner of paradise. So before we get started, I want you to like and follow the Instagram, Facebook, and X account for Connecting with Kim, where you can find all the information about the show, the guests, the topic, and my on-air wardrobe from my sponsor, the Spring of Tampa Bay, from their thrift store on North Willow. And they are very soon going to have new digs up in Drew Park, and we'll be sure to give you the information about that. And we also want to advise you that you can hear the audio of Connecting with Kim on Sun Radio, 96.3 FM, and on your favorite streaming platform Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3:30. So tune into that. So there is just and I love this word, plethora of ways to see Connecting with Kim. So thank you again for joining us today. We have a wonderful guest in the chair. Let me introduce her to you. So my guest today is Laura Hamilton, who is the founder and the president and the executive director of Bridging Freedom, which is an NPO dedicated to providing services to child sex trafficking victims. So, Laura, welcome to Connecting with Kim.
Thank you, Kim. It's great to be here. I'm so honored and looking forward to sharing all that we do with the community. Thank you.
Oh, we're looking forward to this too. So we always start with allowing our guests to take a few moments at the top of the show to share as much of their life journey as they feel comfortable with. And we like to do that because you just never know when somebody out there watching and listening shares something in common with you.
Yes, I'm sure as many life journeys as I've had, there's probably some great connections out there. So I was a mom of 4 children and didn't go to school until late. So I was in my mid-40s when I went to school and started my career. Thought I wanted to go into nursing, and I just kept passing out when it was time to give somebody a shot. So somebody sits me down and says, Laura, you need to think about a different career. So that's when I went to College of Public Health at USF and found some great professors there to kind of lead and guide what I would be doing. I wound up getting my bachelor's in biomedical sciences. So a lot of chemistry, went to research after that a little bit, and just wasn't satisfied. Felt like there was more to give. So did the master's program at USF, College of Public Health, and went into global health initiatives. And we had a professor there that told us that we had the whole semester to do a health care program around any topic we wanted. A few days before that professor gave us that directive, I had been praying in my bed and telling God, thank you so much for all you've done for us. I'm a single mom, 4 kids. Just felt very thankful. And I said, I want to do something for you. I want to do something big. And right then dropped in my heart, child sex trafficking. I'd never heard those words. I stopped, I sat up, I did anything I could to think of something else. 3 days later, I finally say, you know what? This is what my topic's going to be on. The professor checked it off, and I started studying a very dark issue in our community. I thought it was just Russia, Cambodia, Thailand, and it certainly is there.
It is.
Child sex trafficking. But the more I studied about it, the more I realized it was right here in our own backyard.
Well, I think I think
Yes.
Tampa, unfortunately, is third in the nation in human trafficking, if I remember my statistics correctly. So
for the number of reports.
Exactly.
Yes, absolutely.
well,
It is here.
I have to say, once you are you originally from Florida? Because you
Yes.
didn't.
Born and raised.
I have to say that once you decided to get educated,
Yes.
you went gangbusters. So congratulations to you.
Thank you.
And
Yeah.
especially doing that with being the mother of 4 children, a
Yes.
single mom.
Very
so
challenging.
again,
Yes.
bravo to you.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
You get to the point where you're having to do like a thesis paper, basically, right?
Yeah, pretty
And
much.
you decide on this topic, and you start researching it. So tell me what happened from there. Take
I
your
wound
time.
up doing my end of the year project, kind of like a thesis, but instead you do a field project.
Oh, okay.
And through my research on this, I saw that Tampa Bay, Clearwater had a Department of Justice task force here in the area, bringing the community together to figure out what we're going to do about this issue. There were social workers, sheriff, police departments from all of the Tampa Bay areas coming together to figure out what we're going to do. There was an FBI agent who had just rescued 5 little girls here in the Tampa Bay area and needed a place to put these children for services to help them overcome the trauma of being sold multiple times a day. And there was really nowhere in Florida to put them. There were a few places outside of the U.S., outside of Florida, but they were full. That's when I decided in my heart, I'm going to do something about this. I wound up joining the task force as an employee and spent the next 2.5 years trying to place these children. There wasn't very much, so I stepped down and developed Bridging Freedom. My heart was breaking for these children that the detectives, undercover agents were recovering. The little girls, they were like 13 and 14 years old, and they were very, very traumatized from their experiences. And I knew that it was going to take knowing what you know, how to provide services. You just don't open a home and do that.
Right.
So I went through a 3-year mentorship with a very well-known program up in Georgia. Did all of our policies, procedures, knowing the professionals that needed to be hired. And it took us a while to get up and going, but when we did, it was right. And we've been serving children for about 6 years now.
So let me understand. So you have a facility?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, so you have a facility somewhere here in the Tampa Bay area.
Yes.
We're obviously not going to say where that is,
Right.
but you have a facility. How many people can you house? Children can you house at this facility?
12 at a time.
12 at a
so
time.
we have 12 beds in 2 homes. So we had Lazy Days Employee Foundation build 1 home, and Sykes Enterprises built the other home. One's a 4-bedroom, and one's an 8-bedroom. They each get their own bedroom and bathroom. That's very important that
Oh,
they have
yeah.
their own private place. But it's like a traditional home. It's got the living room, dining room, kitchen. It also has a therapy room, education room, and staff offices. So it's a large home.
Yeah.
But it looks like a house.
Yeah.
And it's on a very large, about 100 acres that was donated to us as well.
Oh, fantastic.
Yes, yeah, the community really came together to get this thing up and going. So it's been quite a thankful journey. They could not have done this without the community.
So the children who are being trafficked come and live at this facility, and I love the name of the organization, Bridging Freedom, because you're bridging between basically slavery,
Yes.
a form of slavery,
Absolutely.
to hopefully they will have a productive, contributing, productive, positive life ahead of them
Yes.
after they have come through this trauma. So how long do they stay with you?
About a year and a half. Some of the girls are not ready. They might stay with us maybe 2 to 3 months, and we cannot stabilize them. They need a higher level of care.
Okay.
Now we have a very professional, high-level team that works with the girls. So if we can't stabilize them, and the higher level of care is a SIP placement.
Explain for those of us out there who don't understand SIP.
Right. It's statewide in placement.
Okay.
So lockdown
Okay.
mental health, because the girls have been traumatized at such a intense level that
Right.
they need even more care than we can give them. So the girls come to us, and it takes about 2 months to stabilize them,
Okay.
because they're angry,
Oh, of course.
they're scared, They don't trust anybody.
Nope.
So it takes us about 2 months to build that trust, rapport with them, to get them engaged in the program, which is therapy, life skills, education, health management. We have full-time nurse, full-time case manager. So those kinds of professionals are on campus caring for the girls. We have a 1 staff to 2 children ratio because if a child gets escalated and she gets very angry or scared, she runs. And our staff will run behind her, help her understand that we're here to help. She's got goals to, kind of get back on track with that. And she comes back into the program, to the house, and settles back in. So
let me ask a question. Is it only girls, or is it because
Yes.
okay, so you're only dealing with females?
Right,
Because I know there are also males who are sex trafficked.
Absolutely.
Unfortunately.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, there are programs for boys, and but our state license only allows us to have girls.
Okay.
You can't mix the population.
I understand, but I was trying to figure out if one of your homes was devoted to girls, the other to boys. So I got it now.
As we grow, we might open
Well,
up that
there's
boys' home.
I mean, we there's always room for possibilities, right?
Yes, absolutely. It's needed. Yeah.
So let me understand who lives in the homes with the children that are there.
So we don't have staff that live there. We have staff that are on shifts.
Okay.
We have 5 different shifts, and so the staff will come in maybe 7 a.m. to or 9 a.m. and so we have different shifts coming and going. Which is good. That way the girls can build rapport with different staff that they just connect
Right.
with. It's very, very important, and it has been.
But
one
it's
of the things-
24/7, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. 24/7, and we have 24/7 eyes on them, so that because they have been so traumatized, the slightest thing can set them off.
Right.
Maybe a mom and dad can't have them anymore. They've have lost their rights.
Right.
Or the trafficker has not been found guilty, or all kinds of things can really upset them.
Right.
So our team is there. We have a very large team. We can care for her emotions and make sure that she is progressing, so that when she does step down to a lower level of care, she is continuing to progress in life skills. Some of the girls don't know how to care for themselves. They don't know and understand even the basic hygiene needs that they have.
Yeah.
So some of the girls are more advanced, and we can do life skills that are banking and finance, and they have so many talents too. So we have music therapists coming in, art therapists, yoga, equine therapy, gardening. So very, very full.
Oh wow, I love that.
Yeah.
Let me understand. So they come and live with you for a while, and then you help them again with all these different therapies and life skills to understand how to be their own person.
Yes.
Right? Because I mean, they haven't really ever been their own person, right?
It was stripped.
And what happens after that? So after, where do they go after they leave you? That's
Right.
I want to understand.
Yeah, we get that question a lot, and because we pour so much resources and love and affection, and we want to make sure that they're successful when they step down. So we work with their case management team on DCF side to make sure the placement is the best that it can be. So she's ready to have less structure, more freedom, but not too much.
Right.
Because if she has all this freedom too much, then she's just going to fall right back into that victimization. So we work with DCF to make sure that she steps down into an adoptive family or a foster home, therapeutic foster home, or if she's more advanced, a group home. Sometimes they can go back to their parents, and that's always the best scenario, or a family member.
So if you're just joining me today on Connecting with Kim, my guest in the chair is Laura Hamilton, who is the founder, the president, and the executive director of Bridging Freedom, which is an organization that is dedicated to providing services to child sex trafficking victims. And so we're talking about now we're talking about girls only. This is not a mixed facility. So we're talking about when the girls are now ready to leave the intensive, what I consider the intensive services that you're providing to help them become a contributing, productive member of society with understanding how to, conduct themselves and be free. So they leave you, and you were talking about sometimes they go back to the parents. So I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. I mean, the parents weren't the traffickers, right? So is there a separate? I'm trying. Why would they go back to their parents?
So we see a variety of reasons why a child became trafficked.
Yeah.
Some of them are abducted by gangs. Some of them are groomed through social media, and a lot of them, some family member has sold them, has trafficked them. So it could be their parents, it could be grandparents, it could be brother, it could be uncle, it could be sister. So we see everything. There's nothing off the table that we haven't seen, that a child can get trapped into slavery. Modern day slavery.
It is slavery,
Yes.
in my opinion. I mean, there's no other word for it.
It is. They are forced. They are manipulated into believing that they're loved, or that this is the right thing to do, or to protect somebody. Maybe their sibling has been, or their mother has been threatened. If you don't do these things, we are going after them. So these poor kids are just manipulated into these things, or it's just forced upon them because it was part of their childhood coming up, and it's just something that was within their family experiences.
I have to say, you must have a wellspring of faith deep inside you, as well as all the people that work in your organization.
Yes.
Because I can only imagine, and I don't even want to be honest with you, what kind of situations you're running into on a regular daily basis.
On a regular daily basis, the staff are heroes in my mind, because when you're working with that child, not just day to day, but minute by minute,
Right.
and you are helping her to stabilize and see that there is healing, hope, and purpose, and to be able to see this is how she is right now, but we're going to take you there. And the staff members that can do that are true heroes. To be able to take the verbal abuse or the anger that she has and be able to help her progress through that. But yeah, we have seen some horrific stories. We work with FBI, we work with undercover detectives, with sheriff and police, and what they see, right?
Yeah.
And they recover that child.
Yeah.
And then we help her through the experience that she had, being forced to do unspeakable things that I just can't even say them. They're unspeakable.
And what I'm wondering also is that because we know that people that work in law enforcement in this area, and I mean every aspect of law enforcement, not just the sheriff's office or whatever.
Right.
They see a lot, they suffer a lot, they have trauma, they have PTSD from what they do. So I'm wondering, is it the same? Do members of your staff also need to have therapy and other supportive services to help them get through this every day?
They do. Many of our staff have a therapist of their own. They're social. They're all have bachelor's or master's or doctorate degrees.
Right.
And they might be a therapist, and they have their own therapist, because what's called secondary trauma.
Right.
You're absorbing all this.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, if you can't release it, and you can't take it home, right? So, because then it just oozes out in the family life. So we push self-care if you don't have self-care. So many of our staff only have a 3 or 4 day work week with us. They get their 40 hours or more, but we really want them to have 3 or 4 days off, so that they can have that self-care.
Yeah.
Our upper management, we're always on the phone, or we're working 150 hours. So, but it takes a very strong person to be able to know how to let it go, and so the hero after hero, childcare providers.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm sitting here, I'm a very empathetic person myself, but I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I don't know if I could do this kind of work day in and day out. I mean, it takes a special kind of person.
It does.
So I really applaud you and everyone. How many people are involved in this organization?
We have 49 staff members.
49.
Yep.
I see. The way you were speaking, I would have thought it would have been more, but I really got to applaud you and those 49 other people, because I mean, it's got to be tough.
It is. Even when in the hiring process, we can explain all that it's going to be very graphically. And there are social workers or psychologists, and they're like, yes, I can do this. But until you have done it, minute by minute, working with that child and bringing her to a better place, it's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough. So you don't know it until you try it.
They come to live with you in your facility. You help them with everything they're going through and try to teach them life skills and also the belief that they are not their past. They can be something else. They eventually leave you and either they go back to their parents or they become part of another facility that eventually are they going to school while they're with you? I mean, how does that work?
We have an educator.
Okay.
They do Florida virtual.
Okay.
Many of the girls are behind, so if they're older, like 16, 17, and there's no way to catch up, we make sure they get their GED.
Right.
So, yeah.
Because you're not
important.
employable without it.
Right.
And you got to be employable.
Absolutely.
Do you track them once they leave you? I'm kind of curious about this.
If they're older, yes, we have an aftercare services to where we try and get them. We work with other community partners to get them housing, make sure that they have their resume, job interviews, and all that, and we stay up with them. But if they're younger, DCF will only allow us to keep up with them for 30 days.
Really?
Yeah, because so they can continue their journey.
Okay.
Right. And some of the girls, after they turn 18, will contact us back and say,
Really?
As many of them have sent us notes like, it turned me around. I would not be in the place that I'm in if I didn't have Bridging Freedom. So that encourages us to keep.
My gosh, that must be like totally touch your heart, and it helps with, I mean, you can have all the faith in the world, right? But you need God to send you signs, right? You need God to reinforce your wellspring, right?
That is working. This is worth it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So we only have about 5 minutes left on the show. I have so many questions. I'm starting to I'll start down a path and then I'll go down another path. I try to calm myself down and think of this logically. Do you ever have any of these young ladies, these young women come back to you and want to pursue a career in this same field?
Yes, we have some now. We have 3 that would like to come back. We ask that they be stable for 5 years before they come back. And there's other organizations that hire survivors as well. And that's about the norm that they like to see as well. About 5 years. You got to be stable so that we know that you're not going to be triggered by those that are
Sure, because you're stepping back into a situation where you're gonna hear these stories and you're gonna see these people and it's all gonna come flooding back, right?
Triggered, yes.
Right.
Yeah.
What you went through.
Yeah.
I think that's marvelous. I'm very curious about that, whether they would want to pursue a career helping others after they've survived this situation themselves.
Many of them do. They want to be forensic, even CPIs or forensic officers, or to uncover what other people that are out there so a lot of them want to be nurses, teachers.
Yeah.
So yeah, very much the social services field.
So we only have a little time left, but what was the most surprising thing that you've learned since you started this journey?
The most surprising thing is how resilient children are. I've never experienced something like that, so I can't imagine multiple times a day for years, and then you're able to find that hope and that worthiness to believe I am worthy.
Right.
So it just takes a little bit for somebody to come alongside them and believe in them and say, you are worthy. You are worthy. And here, you know what? I believe in you. I see what you can do, and to start filling them with dreams.
This kind of organization and this kind of work, you always have needs. And so I like to give my nonprofits especially a chance to look in their camera and talk right directly to people.
Well, thank you. We do have many needs. Of course, financial needs. We have to pay the staff. However, what we find is something that people love to give are crafts that the girls can make. Or a big need is when we receive a new participant, we want her room to be new and fresh and clean and fun for what a child would like to experience. And it's expensive. We have to have new mattress covers, new bedspreads, new sheets, teddy bears, a little box of hygiene, a welcome basket, a Bible, yoga mats and balls, and just a lot of things to help welcome that child into Bridging Freedom and help her to feel loved. So we really love to have donations geared toward the child. So that would be my wish.
And how do they get those donations to you, Laura?
If you can email info@bridgingfreedom.org, Ashley will be so happy to help you be able to know how and what to donate, what our needs are for that month. And it's just that simple. info@bridgingfreedom.org.
And bridgingfreedom.org is your website also. They can go there. I just wanted to make sure that you had an opportunity to share that with everyone.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I know we talked a long time ago, got together about getting on the show, and I'm just so happy it came together. I can't thank you enough for being my guest today.
Thank you. It's been a joy. Thank you.
Thank you. So if you're just joining me now, and you have to go back and watch the whole episode because you don't want to miss it, my guest today in the chair was Laura Hamilton, who is the founder, the president, the executive director of Bridging Freedom, which is an organization that provides services to victims and I'm going to say survivors now of child sex trafficking. And I know it's a dark subject. It's not something we all like to think about, or we don't even want to believe it exists, but unfortunately it does. And there are wonderful organizations like Bridging Freedom and others filled with caring people who bring these children from what is essentially slavery to being their own person. So I want you to support their efforts. So that's all we have time for today on Connecting with Kim. I'm looking at the clock. But I want to thank you for joining us today on this episode. I want you to come back next week. And I want to, again, thank my sponsor, the Spring of Tampa Bay, for providing my on-air wardrobe from their thrift store located on North Willow. And soon they will be located in Drew Park here in Tampa. So long, farewell, take care, and live your best life in our corner of paradise.